a truly vicious savage who was given clearance, freedom, and a hero's welcome. Now, for those of us who do not walk in lockstep with all the powers that be, for those of us who are willing to be independent in our thoughts and our statements, and I count myself in a small way like you in that manner, it is more often a lonely road. It's easy to wave the American flag on stage with thousands of fans cheering you on as a journalist or a talk show host or a politician or a celebrity. But it takes much more courage to defend that flag and what it stands for when the reward is not cheering fans or adoring crowds. In this case, the reward is clearing a man's good name and telling the world that they cannot take our precious freedom of speech and use it and twist it into a political weapon, particularly in this so-called, quote-unquote, global society that they've forced upon us.
Well, I'm fighting for the bigger picture.
Now, know that you have millions who would urge the British government to swallow their pride and do, based on even what the polls in Great Britain say the people want, and that is to rescind this ban. Now, as an attorney who continues an affiliation with a large national law firm, and I realize I have too many jobs here, I continue to return to the concept of fundamental fairness and the utter lack of it and the capricious nature taken by Ms. Smith and the government of Great Britain. I will not stop in my effort to bring this to the attention of my readers, be they in newspapers or in highly read sites such as Town Hall or Newsmax. To me, this is not an issue of conservative or liberal, Michael. It's not Republican or Democrat. As an attorney, as I said, serving as of counsel with one of the nation's larger firms, I view this as an issue of not only fairness, but of defending freedom of speech in the United States and not allowing it to be used against American citizens in this so-called global economy and world that we live in. Now, I still love Great Britain and the British people, but as one might joke, being a Cambridge graduate, this is an issue so simple, even an Oxford graduate should understand it. Michael, we stand with you. We promise that we will continue to advocate for a clearing of your name, and we hope that others who have greater following and those who are on television and talk shows will finally join the rest of us in recognizing this injustice and ask that the British government do what is so simple and easy to do. Take your name off that list.
Matt Towery, thank you for standing up and for your support in this battle. I hope people go to michaelsavage.com and check out my new book, Banned in Britain.
Michael, it was a pleasure to be with you. It's a pleasure to stand with you, and I will continue to stand with you all the way through this.
Savage.
Your money, your life. How to make sense of it all. I'm Rob Black. Join me weekday mornings at 10 on Talk 910 KNEW.
So Gaddafi of Libya gives the terrorist Lockerbie bomber a hero's welcome when he's released by the Scottish government. And what does the media do? They give Gaddafi the royal treatment. Listen to this fawning treatment.
Big celebrations in Libya today to mark the 40th anniversary of the coup that brought Colonel Muammar Gaddafi to power. Gaddafi has been ostracized for decades over accusations he supports terrorism. And Libya's warm welcome of the Lockerbie bomber has sidelined the country and its leader once again.
Celebrating his 40th year in leadership? That's how they talk about him? But wait, it gets worse.
Colonel Gaddafi has been in power longer than any other world leader, has made plenty of enemies in that time, but after 40 years appears to be giving the impression he's putting his past behind him. Libya compensated the families of the Lockerbie victims with a $1.5 billion fund. And in the last decade, Gaddafi has given up his nuclear ambitions, dismantled his chemical weapons program, and rebuilt his relationship with the US and Europe, raising the question, is the Libyan leader, long the bogeyman of the West, a reformed character?
The vermin in the media are covering for him. They're saying he's changed his ways. And now Nick Roberts of CNN rattles off the guest list for the dictator Gaddafi celebration.
Hugo Chavez from Venezuela, we've seen him arrive. Raul Castro got out of his car here about an hour and a half ago. Robert Mugabe, the president of Zimbabwe, President Bashir of Sudan, have all been here in the past couple of days, and we've seen plenty of others. It's taken about 2 hours to get them all seated on that stage behind me. Gaddafi himself only arrived about an hour ago, and there were still other leaders arriving.
What an absolute traitor. In another time, this reporter would have been jailed for giving such a glowing report about an enemy of freedom. And I bet Nick Robertson is not banned in Britain. Does it make me an evil man to ask you why we are in Afghanistan? Tell me who the warmonger is. Me, for asking the question? Now I'm the evil man? I should be banned where now? Where should I be banned now because I'm asking why are we in Afghanistan? Tell me which country I should be banned from. Who's the warmonger? Gordon Brown or Michael Savage? Why are the British troops in Afghanistan? Why are the Brits sending their boys to die over there? What are they dying there for? The great Labour Party of England sending their troops to Afghanistan for what? Nobody even knows why we're there. Why are we there? I want to know the answer. First of all, we're not going to win, I'll tell you right now. The British lost. Do you remember the Soviet Union, what happened to them in Afghanistan? You don't remember that? You don't remember in the 70s we were supporting I forget what they called them then. I don't even know what they called, the freedom fighters of Afghanistan. Don't you remember? When they were fighting against the Soviets, they were called freedom fighters. Now that their sons are fighting our troops, they're not freedom fighters, they're terrorists. You don't remember we gave them Stinger missiles that wound up in New Jersey? You don't remember the U.S. military supplied Stinger missiles to what were they called then in the 70s? I forgot already. The Mujahideen. Their sons now are fighting the Americans. They're the same people. They haven't changed their philosophy. They don't want any foreigners telling them how to run their country. For better or for worse, it's their country. Why are we there? Why are we propping up a dictatorship? Why? I mean, why are the Marines being asked to die? Is it in our national interest in some way that I don't know about? I don't claim to be a military expert, and I claim to be a non-military expert. Or shall I say a military non-expert? So I'll turn it over to you liberals, because you're an expert in everything. Why are our men dying there? Because Obama said they should? Why are we there? Why is Congress not sending out anti-war messages? Where are the code stinkos? Where are all of the anti-war people? Where is the no war for oil bumper sticker? Where are the no war bumper stickers I saw all over the Bay Area for so many years? Where are they? Huh? No answer? Okay, moving on. I was going through my archives today because the archivist needs all the tapes, and I uncovered mountains of tapes from 1994, 95, 96 when I was a local host. Believe it, they're on tape. These are on actual audio tapes. I used to drive them crazy at the station and make the poor engineers record these shows, and I would put little wrappers around them with handwritten notes. Like today I talked about Ted Kennedy and Chappaquiddick. That was in 94. I was still things of that nature. Immigration out of control, 94, 95. While Glenn Beck was in rehab, I guess I was still talking. I don't really know, but all these notes are on. And I discovered old coins. Would you believe it? I found boxes and boxes of Morgan silver dollars, Indian head cents. Then I stumbled upon some things owned by my children in storage. God, like junior high school report cards and journals that I had them keep when we would take them on ocean trips when they were in school. I remember we used to take them on trips and take them out of school because there was a credo that your child will learn more on a cruise on an ocean liner and traveling and experiences than he will in the 6th or 7th or 8th grade. Well, that was a liberal credo. They wouldn't say that anymore because liberals don't travel with their children. They're too busy traveling with themselves so they can switch hit with each other while they're on the road, and the children are left at home with a house sitter with Ritalin. But we actually traveled with our children on ocean liners, and I found the journals, they're very touching. Usually the child, it's very much out of Mark Twain. It's very cute. The journals, I say, okay, look, son, here's what we're going to do. We're going on a trip for 4 weeks in December. You're going to be out of school. I'm going to miss 2 weeks, 3 weeks of school. But I'll tell you what, you're going to keep a journal of every port we go to. That's when I was collecting plants in the South Pacific. Fiji, Tonga, Samoa, the Palmyras. I mean, amazing places. And I said, and if you meet interesting people on the ship, you're going to make notes of it. And birds, you're going to make notes of birds that you see and things that. Sure, Dad. Great. Love it. And the first day, they sit at the table, the card table, while the people are somewhere else up in the dining room, and they write. You look at the journal 20 years later, it's only 2 pages are dutifully entered, and then the rest are blank because kids are kids. They were busy living and enjoying themselves instead of writing down a stupid journal that nobody would ever read. They actually were looking at the birds. They actually were running on the decks of the ship. God bless them. I'm glad they didn't keep a journal. But those first 2 pages were really well good. Penmanship was great. No, those are the days. You know that my bar bills, I still have some of the bar bills from those ships. My bar bills for wine and drinks were higher than my rent was. They used to charge you. There's nothing else to do in a ship. other than drink. That's the big secret of why people go on. Well, you see, in those days, ships were a little different than they are today. Today, they're floating Las Vegas hotels. What they are is like a Motel 6 with propellers today. You can't even walk on a ship and enjoy the air without some kind of muzak driving you indoors so that you gamble or buy some garbage that you could buy in Target for less money, for example. But in the days that I began traveling on ships, I traveled on some of the last great ships, the Oriana. In fact, I just found some artifacts from the Canberra, the Oriana. These were amazing ocean liners that were used for actual transport as opposed to being simply a floating brothel. With God's will and your listenership, I shall return. This is the Savage Nation.
Savage. Michael Savage. Afternoons 3 to 7 on Talk 910 KNEW and online at 910KNEW.com.